Hello and welcome to the Rested with an Eye podcast, where we explore travel time rather than destinations and the joys and surprises of shared transport. For many, travelling on buses, boats and trains is now a lifestyle choice. My name's Mark Selby. I love the theatre of travel, discovering the stories of journeys and learning how people use their travel time. The eye is on the bus. You might be a wild adventurer who loves taking risks, but for most people, it's difficult to enjoy our travels without feeling safe. Sadly, according to surveys, there are many people who worry about the safety of shared transport, believing travel by car is safer than by bus or train. This seems odd. It might feel safer sitting alone in a car, but the likelihood of hurting someone walking or cycling on or beside the road is so much higher, and the risk of injury within a car is actually higher. So why don't these motorists feel safe in shared transport? It might be that old saying, stranger danger. It rhymes, is memorable, and don't talk to strangers was common advice in their childhood. Sadly, most horrible crimes against people are not committed by strangers at all. The perpetrator is invariably known by the victim. The strangers on your bus or train are almost certainly safe, law-abiding people. But as Dan Ariely wrote, people are predictably irrational, retaining childhood guidance irrespective of its appropriateness. Quite apart from riding with safe people, you have other forms of security. Closed-circuit TV cameras are common on buses, trains and at stations. The bus driver monitors improper behaviour and can raise police assistance if required. Sometimes those transport police are travelling on the bus or train disguised as passengers to apprehend fare dodgers or antisocial individuals. And then there are your fellow passengers. To paraphrase the wonderful Jane Jacobs, these are the eyes on the bus, watching and listening throughout the journey, witnesses to anything untoward. Many of them are regular passengers, familiar to each other and the driver. The character of passengers and atmosphere within a bus might change as you travel through different neighbourhoods, but regular riders provide some social stability and security. I'll give you an example. Recently, I had some free time, so decided to do a simple experiment. I walked into town and decided to catch the first bus that appeared, wherever it was going. A bus arrived that I'd never ridden, and off we went. Within a few minutes we were driving on roads I'd not used. We passed through a small town that I didn't know. However local I felt, I was an outsider, as passengers getting on or off seemed to know each other. Almost all of them greeted two well-behaved dogs sitting on the floor in front of me. But, like their owner, being upstaged by dogs is something I'm familiar with. An hour later, I disembarked at a library I'd never seen. It was excellent. I found some very useful books and settled into a comfortable chair to read. Once done, I headed off to find a bus home. A short wait gave me time to buy a coffee from a barista with a mass of curly hair. She was charming and the coffee was delicious. The ride home was not as calm as the outward trip. A man sat behind me who kept speaking to other passengers, whatever distance they sat from him. His comments were polite, but inappropriate. Remember our drunk, drugged or deranged groupings from an earlier episode? Well, he would probably have been perceived as on the edge of deranged. I felt uncomfortable, but I watched the other passengers' reactions. For the most part, they ignored him, but then one man smiled and said, "You again." And a woman said quietly, "Come along, be nice." The passengers clearly knew him from previous trips, and he fell quiet. He was harmless, just occasionally commenting on what he saw outside the bus. It was the familiar eyes on the bus that returned us to a calm, shared ride. Dr. Amy Hanser at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver is doing public transit research and says the first unwritten rule of bus riding is to keep to yourself when appropriate and make yourself available to respond to a situation when necessary. I totally agree. My random journey gave me insights, revealed the unknown, and caused me to smile. When we returned to the starting point, the talkative passenger sitting behind me got off and began a friendly chat with two other passengers. I could have sat alone in my car for the trip. It would have been quicker, but I probably wouldn't have discovered that library, the charming barista, or the small town. I'm lucky to have very smart friends and family members. They look at me, shake their heads, and tell me I'm daft. Given their smarts, I won't deny it. But I do have fun. Whether we're trekking across Australia or the Americas, around the Baltics or from our local bus stop, there's always a small adventure and some fun beckoning on shared transport. It's generally safer than travelling alone and will give you some surprises, such as these announcements by drivers and guards. We are now arriving into Waterloo, where this train terminates, approximately 5 minutes early. Apologies for any inconvenience this may cause you. Or, the next stop is East Grinstead. My ex lives in East Grinstead, so a good reason not to get off. And a special mention for the London Underground train driver, who led a chorus of "Always look on the bright side of life," accompanied by whistling passengers on a journey through London. Your stories of journeys and travel continue to delight and surprise. Please continue sending them to restedpodcast@gmail.com and we'll share them. I'm always keen to know what your favourite journeys are. Ulla from Helsinki, who's spent a lot of time living overseas, tells me she's been breaking the silence at Finnish bus stops, finding topics that trigger conversations. Apparently, aura rings have helped start chats. Jenny from Buenos Aires makes a good point. On shared transport, you're secure and static, while the world is flying past. Potentially a good place in which to meditate. And we'll be looking closer at that in a future episode. I'm grateful to the friends of the Far North Line, which runs from Inverness in Scotland to the end of the line at Wick. A journey of 168 miles that takes over 4 hours through wonderful countryside. Ian Budd and his colleagues have a superb website that's highlighting Rested. Thank you. I look forward to visiting the line later this year and recommend you consider it too. Several listeners have told me of their romantic encounters, including Richard from Frimley, who met a charming girl for the first time on the train from Reading to Barnstable. They've just celebrated their 26th wedding anniversary. My thanks to Caroline from Aldbourne, who uncovered another great story. Denise and Stefan met on a train 18 years ago. Denise is a soprano. Stefan is a pianist. Stefan asked Denise for the time, unaware that she too was visually impaired. Denise, who has limited vision in her left eye, confesses that she just thought, "Stop hitting on me." But when exiting the train, she noticed that Stefan also had a cane and realised, oh my God, he's blind too. The pair recently starred in a Britain's Got Talent show, watched by their 11-year-old son and their guide dog, Tilly. Thanks also for the links you've sent to some amazing ads encouraging bus and train use. There's one old TV commercial I've been told about that I'm keen to track down. It starts with a Porsche parked illegally in a bus lane. The approaching bus stops. The frustrated driver and passengers are unable to see the offending motorist, so are stuck behind the parked car. The ad resumes with the bus driving on down the bus lane. The camera is now inside the bus, where each passenger is holding part of the Porsche with the tagline, "There are more of us." Keep sending your thoughts and stories in, and remember, there are more of us. And until next time, enjoy your travels. Thank you for listening to the Rested with an Eye podcast. Please subscribe on your preferred podcast service and share with a friend. I look forward to hearing from you and sharing your travel stories. Please email restedpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks to everyone that has contributed to Rested with an Eye so far. Enjoy your travel time.